come up with the idea for this book?
You had a lot of concern a couple of summers ago about kids who were being mean to one another online. And even though this was happening not in school hours, you knew that this issue would become a school issue because of all the hurt that you foresee happening within the community and how isolating it could be. You were really, really worried about it, and I was really casting around for a new idea for a book.
So my worry turned into your literary success. Well, it was a timely book, because the truth is that's exactly what did happen. And I think with this age student, they can't separate home from school. So it's counterproductive for homes, for parents to say, have the school solve it, or the school to say, this isn't happening on our watch, you solve it, because children don't exist in two different communities separately, and they're not isolated. And if they're bringing their sadness and their hurt in school, they can't learn. So it doesn't do us any good not to address this issue, and this is their life. They are spending a tremendous amount of time.
So Mom, I have a daughter now.
I know that.
And I'm in the ranks of concerned parents, and what would you suggest to me if my daughter were encountering some problems with kids posting, say, anonymous comments on Formspring, and I felt as though it were hurting her academically and socially and causing her a lot of distress, and I came to you as a parent at your school?
I think, first of all, you would need to listen to her and talk about it and really hear her. I think one of the things that we always have to fight, our natural instinct to solve this. And we feel such pain for our own children, and I certainly felt it for all of you. But you have to, you really have to push that down, because you don't want your child to feel that anxiety. And say, how are you feeling? Ask about it. Have your child talk to you. Have her tell you what's going on. And then go in with the understanding that the school is not going to solve this problem, that this is a community conversation. And I always am appreciative with parents who come in with that understanding, so that it isn't, people aren't coming in on attack mode and saying, what are you doing to solve this? But what can we do together? How can we work on this?
Mom, what would you say to a young person online late night who might be posting without a lot of thought into the future and consequence?
Well, interestingly, I've had to deal with those conversations, and they're not easy, because what our students don't understand is that they create an electronic footprint that never goes away. Equally important, it's to remind all 13-year-olds to think about what that 1 a.m. moment will feel like the next day or the next week, and to have them just take a moment every time they go online, to have a moment, a gut check moment.
It's almost a new way of thinking in complete transparency, that you want to believe that anything that you send out could be read by 20 people in your address book, the first 20, a random selection, and not really have any consequence at all. It's information passing.
We are very careful here in the schools and adult community to not joke much in email, to not put things in capital letters, to understand the etiquette of online conversations, because we've had hurt feelings, we've had misunderstood emails go around, and you can't take them back. And I think that's the idea that we have to get through to kids. You can't take this back. You can't say, I didn't say that. You can't say, I didn't mean that, because it's out there.
So to cut technology off at the quick is not really a real solution, because here it is. And it's here to stay.
Absolutely. It's a quick fix, and it makes people feel temporarily better, but it doesn't get at the heart of what this century is going to look like. We're living in exponential times. These technologies, since we started to think about it, have changed, morphed. We even know that kids are finding their own websites and wonderful sites. So it's important for schools and parents to talk about it, to say, how can we use this powerful tool in support of education? And I think, to your book, it would be wonderful to see girls and parents have a conversation about it.
Well, I remember just when we had moved and I was having a hard time in a pre-cyber world in the early 80s. And going to school was scary for me because I was a new kid and I was getting a little bit picked on. And then we would go in and talk to my teacher, Mrs. Gamma, who really became a voice of advocacy at that time.
Yeah.
But to keep kind of addressing it and figuring it out, and by the time I was in 6th grade, we were also just on better footing because we didn't hide from the problem that I was having, which was really essentially just being new.
That's right. And we didn't demonize the other students. They weren't the villains. And you actually owned the problem. That was the best part. I think you became such a resilient woman because you were a resilient child. And I think the importance, and it was almost by accident, I think, that I wish I could remember feeling as though it was important to have you a resilient
No, you
child,
were just concerned.
But you were, and you solved it yourself, and I think you took great pleasure. I remember that you took such pleasure out of solving that problem yourself, not feeling as though all the adults were in there solving it. And so when you became friends with some of those antagonists, you felt really good about yourself. It was well earned.
Well, you fall back on your most authentic self.
You do.
And that's forever.